Anywho,
That's dumb.
uh, so during this conversation of whether Batman should kill or not, something came up that I completely wholeheartedly disagree with.
I could tell by your reaction.
Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice versus the Justice
Uh,
League.
right.
You say that the Justice League was a worse film than Batman v Superman.
Well, before we get into that, can we at least agree the non-Snyder cut, whoever the other guy is, that one is worse than
That
Batman v
one's
Superman?
part Snyder, part Joss Whedon.
No, that's mostly Joss Whedon.
Oh no,
Because
undoubtedly
Snyder had all the filming complete. The problem was that I think he
the
lost a
editing
family.
was, yeah, he
Well,
lost
no,
the
he
family
lost a
member.
family member to suicide.
Yeah,
Joss Whedon came in and like
and
basically
gutted it.
uprooted the whole thing
He
and then
gutted the
redid
frick out
everything.
of it.
So can we at least agree that cut is worse
Yes,
than
no,
Batman v
I,
Superman?
I
Okay,
I definitely agree with you that the Justice League theatrical cut is bad.
right.
I still think it's better than Batman v Superman.
It's really
Yes,
not. It's really not.
I I can I can I can enjoy both. I just, for starters, the introduction of Jason Momoa into the Justice League here, that movie is basically made because of him. The
That's
only
it.
the only great parts are him. Controversial topic now, Ezra Miller, because of everything that he's done.
Whoops.
Oh boy. And Cyborg. Basically, the three characters that they didn't focus on in Batman v Superman were the best parts of this film. And I enjoyed every single second that they were on screen. And then Superman showing up at the end. Hero, Rose, that scene, that scene where they resurrect Superman
right.
and he has all three of them, all three of the powerhouses stopped and Flash running behind him. And you see Superman's eye follow the Flash. That entire theater lost their minds when that happened. I was like, oh no, run, Barry, run.
That might be because he's actually not supposed to be able to follow it.
Yes, you can.
Nope.
Yep.
The Batman or the Batman, the Flash is faster than Superman.
Yes, I will agree with you. The Batman. Look what you made me
This is
do.
when I started.
This is where you started. No, the Flash is faster than Superman. Period. Thing is, you have to take in mind who this Barry Allen is. This Barry Allen has not been in that much combat or in that much situations that calls for him to accelerate and better his speed. Towards the end, when Barry Allen first starts out as Flash, I can make the argument that Superman and Flash are basically at equal footing. Where if they race on foot, Flash is beating him. But if Superman's able to fly, he's keeping up when Barry Allen starts, which is where they kind of hint at that he's at in this film. This is the early stages of him being the Flash. With the fact that he's able to frickin' see him, regardless of whether or not that scene is terrific. That is one of those oh no moments of that film that I just enjoy. And I'm able to enjoy the movie more, uh, mainly because Batman v Superman had so many moments of just, this is dumb. This is dumb.
I mean, I
This,
will agree to get the guy who I forget his name's like Jesse something
yeah.
to play Lex Luthor was a huge mistake.
What about the way that they brought in Doomsday? That was stupid.
I don't know too much about Doomsday though,
Yeah, no, that
so
Doomsday is,
I didn't really know about that part because I didn't know much about Doomsday.
and for starters, the Doomsday looks horrible. Doesn't look anything closely to the comics. Whereas Smallville, a much lower budget TV show, got much closer to what Doomsday should look like in live action.
Right.
And the way that they did Doomsday, and Doomsday is one of my favorite Superman villains because he's the only one to kill the Superman.
Right.
Uh, makes me already hate the movie. Um, the fight, the lead up, the reason for why the Batman v Superman fight is so dumb is because it comes off the trail of the Dark Knight Returns. That fight sequence and the strategy of Batman throughout that entire fight in the animated one, that's exactly all you should have done was just print, cut, edit, copy the exact same thing. Just make it live action.
Right.
But they didn't.
That's probably why all the movies are failures, anyways.
They gave us the Kryptonite Lance, which in retrospect, yeah, was really good. I like the Kryptonite Lance. I like the fact that Batman's the one that kind of comes up with the weakness for Superman, whereas no one else what to do with him. It's like, how do we stop this guy? Batman.
Right.
Radioactive materials from his own planet. Um, that was kind of cool. The fight scene after the Batman versus Superman fight with Batman saving Martha Kent, phenomenal.
Right.
That felt like you literally took it from the Arkham games,
Right.
and I love that. But we got to talk about the biggest elephant in the room as to why that fight scene sucks. Save Martha.
Oh yeah, that was
Stop.
dumb. I'll give you that.
Why not just say my mother? Save my mother.
Right.
Or why even have a fight in the first place? You're
Why
Superman.
did you say that name?
Right? That's so dumb.
Yeah, no, that was
That was
Why not save her yourself? Like you literally have like
You're Superman.
echolocation. Like you can literally hear her and then just fly over there like with your super speed and literally just take both the guys out
Is this a
and then
super
fly out. Like you don't even need to bother dealing with the rest of the room the way Batman did. Like you just gotta
Batman
take
had
out,
to deal with the rest of the room. Not
Yeah.
really, but you know, it
Right.
looked amazing.
but like Superman can literally figure out where she is, go there, take the two out quickly, and then take her.
Let's see. Is this a Superman that is faster than the Christopher Reeve Superman? Because the Christopher Reeve Superman was able to fly around the Earth and counter spin it to revert time.
Which was stupid.
Of course. But he was that fast.
Mm.
So is this Superman weaker than that one? I mean, it was bad. The fight scene between Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman versus Doomsday,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of gave them a little bit points back. I really did enjoy that fight. I just kind of think that Batman, for as much of a strategist as he is, messed up big time by having Superman be the one to grab the kryptonite lance and stab Doomsday with it.
Right.
Where you have an Amazonian warrior who is trained in weaponry and can fly
and is super strong
and not weakened to the tip of that thing.
Right.
So those are all the bad points for Batman v Superman.
That's quite a lot. I mean, I'm not saying by any means it was a good movie,
but
I'm just saying compared to Justice League, it was better.
But is it though?
Yes.
Including the Snyder Cut.
I was unimpressed by the Snyder Cut.
Snyder Cut opened up so much more with the fact that it wasn't Steppenwolf. I'll give you this. Steppenwolf, that design that they had for the Justice League, horrible. I hated it.
But that's literally like the only thing it had going for it. And he didn't even make an appearance. Like Darkseid didn't even appear in the movie.
No, it was in the Snyder
except
Cut.
in a flashback. Like he literally, like they tried, like the reason why they decided to make a Justice League movie like right out the gate is because they were trying to compete with Marvel.
Yes, I can agree
Marvel,
with you. That was
Marvel was on Infinity War, where Thanos was coming.
Yep.
By that logic, they should have just released Darkseid, but they didn't release Darkseid. They released, the DC version of who Robert Downey Jr. calls Squidward. Yeah. So it's it was pointless. Like they should have, instead of doing that, they should have taken their time like Marvel did, and then built up each, like released a bunch of movies, built them up each individually to then bring them together to create those movies and create the entire universe. But they didn't, which is why all of it, including the Snyder cut, was just completely botched in execution. It's a great idea, and I have high hopes for it in the future should they get their crap together. But in this particular one, it was all a flop, and people really hyped up the like people really hyped up the Snyder cut. I kind of just saw it as like anime filler. Like it's the same story, but now there's just more details that like really like doesn't make it that much better from the original movie that whatever his face released.
I would disagree on this very important topic. One, yes, while it was in a flashback, we did get Darkseid, and Darkseid as a villain, as compared to Steppenwolf, Darkseid, it makes sense why it took that much to take him out. Like you can see, yeah, this dude got taken out because gods were involved.
Right.
Um,
Which is fine.
with the additions that they did, especially to having Steppenwolf kill Cyborg's dad right in front of him as he's getting his redemption arc,
Right.
was phenomenal because that tied in a lot to, oh snap, this is actually, that was a big turning point in the movie.
From what though? Like what benefit did that
Because
play from his redemption arc?
that gave an actual explanation, I believe, as to why they kind of left the mother box off.
Right, but like why is Cyborg's death, like Cyborg's dad's death, significant?
I would have to rewatch the movie.
But you don't find it in the movie. It's just Cyborg's here, important. Father figure, important. Father figure dead. Boom. Like there's no backstory. There's literally like the reason why these movies flop is because there's nothing, like there's no journey that we are aware of that took forward to lead up to where they were originally. You have Cyborg, who's literally a mopey teen right now for good reason, but he's just a mopey teen who doesn't like his dad. Then finds out some things that why his dad did what he did, and then dad dies. Like, okay, but we don't know anything about Cyborg prior to the accident. We don't know about any of the struggles that he had.
Do. We actually do know that he had scholarship hopes. The guy was a tremendous athlete. There is, I believe, I don't know if it's in the Whedon cut, but I know it's definitely in the Snyder cut, that you see that there is already a friction between him and his dad before he becomes Cyborg. Barely. So could you imagine?
Barely.
That was a pretty big one.
There's not much of a story behind it. Like we don't see, like we don't fully feel how good he has it. The only thing we know is that there's a backstory, and they briefly talk about the backstory. That's it.
And the backstory kind of cements.
I want to know why Cyborg thinks the way Cyborg does, and why he does what he does. And to do that, you need more time and story invested into it, which is where it, again, if they had taken their time with the franchise instead of trying to rush it to compete with Marvel, which they ended up not doing at all, they would have they would have started the universe with like Batman, right? And then they would have or Superman even, right? Like
I mean, they already had it started with,
because I did like Man of Steel movie, and I felt really invested into Superman because I got to see Superman like
I was hoping for a sequel,
right?
I think there should have been,
but the problem is that it's like we get a backstory for Superman. We don't get one for Batman in this universe, but it's Batman.
We don't really need one.
Yeah, and we're kind of getting something similar with the new Batman movie that's out now with Robert Pattinson
and
the Riddler. But aside from all that, but like hardly much for Wonder Woman. That movie came out afterwards. If it had come out before, would have made. I feel like it could have helped the Justice League be a little bit more enjoyable.
No, I believe Wonder Woman came out.
Oh no, she actually came out.
She came out
Batman
before
Superman.
Yeah, and she came out. She showed up in Batman v Superman,
and she barely had an appearance.
But had a huge impact for what she was in.
Right, she had a decent impact. I wouldn't say it
She was involved in the final fight, and
so
kind of a big reason for why they were able to defeat Doomsday.
yeah,
But
Superman was the big reason.
especially with those new power gauntlets that she has, she didn't have those in the comics.
Right.
Um, but
But anyways, but besides the point, but didn't her movie come out after the
it
Justice
came
League?
out after Batman v
Like her,
Superman.
okay. So we have like a little bit of a backstory for her. Ezra just shows up.
Yep,
Um, Aquaman didn't come out till afterwards. Just shows up.
yep,
Cyborg just shows up. Like
yep.
there's no we have no reason to like understand why they're there or like what their pain is or what made them the way that they are. They're just like directors like here they are,
So wait,
and then it's like so it's like the what made Marvel really successful is that it all started with Tony Stark. The
yeah,
whole universe started with Tony Stark.
of course.
Actually, no, it's not true. It started with the Incredible Hulk. Um, Incredible Hulk came out before Iron Man.
Did it?
I think so.
No,
Iron Man's 2008, and Incredible Hulk I think is 2004
no. I think that
with Ed something.
no, I think that Iron Man was the one that started it. Incredible Hulk came in later because I remember seeing uh, Tony in the credit scene.
In the end credits. Oh, the Incredible Hulk is a 2008 movie. And then
I think 2004
oh,
is
Iron Man's also
Iron Man.
2008.
Yeah, but Iron Man came like right before Hulk did.
Iron Man came in May 2nd. The Incredible Hulk came June 13th.
So yeah,
So yeah, so I got those mixed up. So, but it all started with Iron Man,
it did.
and then it slowly built into this broad universe. So like they told a story for Iron Man with like three separate movies. They told a story for they didn't tell a story for Black Widow, so you got a couple superheroes who just kind of make their appearance. But like
But I
with War
understand that you
Machine,
didn't
you
need
got it.
their
Um,
backstory.
with War Machine, you got it. With Captain America, you got it. Hulk, you even though people didn't really like the movies, I like the movie, but
I did too.
they got it right.
I was
They
actually
got
kind
the
of disappointed that we swapped actors.
right.
I really did enjoy
I thought it was
the.
actually pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah,
Um,
that design for Hulk
oh
in
yeah,
that movie better than the one
great.
that they have for
Yeah,
for the Marvels.
right.
After
And
that,
then it's like so you get to like understand, especially Tony Stark, who has like the most character development. You get movies for like Thor and stuff,
here I'm gonna
and Loki and stuff too.
just gonna stop my camera for a second. You
Okay.
can keep talking.
Um, but you get like all these backstories to understand like who they are, what they do, why they think they are, feel their emotional pain, and all this stuff, and then it all comes together, right, as the icing on the cake for the Avengers.
Of course,
Whereas Justice League wanted to ice the cake first before baking it.
but see,
So they wanted to put the icing on nothing. So they had virtually nothing to work with because nobody knows these characters and how they're designed, right? I mean, like obviously we know who the Flash is and who the Batman is, but what we don't know, and we kind of understand who the Batman is through Batman v Superman. We understand who Superman is because of the Man of Steel. Wonder Woman's official movie didn't come out until afterwards, so we
but she
don't.
wasn't that big of a part of Batman v
She
Superman
was a
anyway.
decent part, but she wasn't huge. Like she wasn't the
Exactly.
biggest part, so we still don't know. So there's no emotional attachment to it that like yeah, a 3-hour movie definitely shed more light, but it only shed more light to the plot at hand when there was no predecessing event that we
To the
know
other
of that
guys,
brought them all together, that made them who they are, right? And that led to them making the decisions that they made. Whereas so there's no emotional investment, which is why they both I think kind of flopped.
okay. So I think that
And that's why I was unimpressed relatively.
and that's what I was getting at is that I think that your biggest gripe with Justice League is that they just try to do too much too quick. Um,
Was it's that they try like most stuff like if you're at an auction they save the best for last usually to entice people to stay later
I
so
get
that
it.
the
I get
better
it.
stuff. So it's like again you put the icing on the cake last. It's supposed to be the best looking part. They literally put they literally didn't even make batter first. They literally just like grabbed icing and were
But
like
hear me
trying to
out.
ice it.
Hear me out. Point of argumentation for DC for the ways that they did their movies.
Right.
One, yeah, it stands out because you're throwing in the team battle before 3 of the 6 people that are there get any sort of backstory. Which already, yeah, it kind of feels wonky because you don't know anything about these other 3 characters, but that's kind of the mystery of now you're enticed to watch their movie.
Mm,
Um,
not really.
I was more enticed to watch Aquaman after Justice League than I would have been prior. Then again, Jason Momoa can make that character work. So
Right.
I'll
I will give you that. Jason Momoa is hands down like the best Aquaman.
he's technically the only good Aquaman. Not technically, he is the only good Aquaman. Um,
Wait, who are there other Aquamans?
there's others from TV shows,
Right. Well,
and then I'm
either
only
way.
talking live action because cartoon
Oh, cartoons are
is a
different.
different story.
Best Joker for
Um,
cartoon, Mark Hamill.
of course, only Joker, in my opinion. The other ones are just cheap copies.
They are literally copies. Like they try
Um,
to impersonate his voice all the time.
so I would say this: one, you are already making a big change to the way that people portray the movies because of the fact that you're throwing out the combo movie. What is it, like fourth in the lineup? Whereas I think if they had done it the way Marvel did it, we would have had a big gripe with DC saying, "Oh, you're just copying Marvel."
I don't think it would have been a big gripe.
I,
Obviously, there would be people who would make that claim, but
but there would have been enough.
how, so if that's the case, how many other stuff is Marvel copying right now? Because like literally every movie ever is starting small, developing a storyline to a massive payoff at the climax of the movie.
No, I'm
Marvel literally copies that trend all the time.
of, and
So
for
it's like,
starters, they copy themselves.
right,
They even copy their own movies, like the
right,
whole trope of we have the protagonist um, in the first movie having to fight a villain that has the same powers as them. That's basically in every movie.
right. But
Um, I
but
will
you
give
know,
you this: Marvel did obviously did it better. I don't know how this became a Marvel v DC discussion, but yeah, Marvel did it a whole lot better, given the fact that we are willing to watch even their crappier movies
right,
and sit through 2.5 hours, 3 hours of very nodding off movies.
right.
I think the only one that I slept through was The Eternals.
I haven't even watched that one.
I slept through it halfway through. I'm like, this thing is so boring. And
Right.
when I fell asleep is when they actually started fighting,
Right.
and I was already dead asleep.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that DC doing it the way that they did, for me, obviously not for you, but for me, it kind of gave a mystery as to, okay, this is what you can do with them together. How are you going to deal with them when they're not together? And I truly did enjoy what they did with Aquaman. Aquaman freaking blew up the roof off with how much money they made and how successful it really was. And when you come down to think of it, it was basically Black Panther underwater.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I see your points with why Justice League has a negative view of it, and it's because a lot of the characters that they introduced in that film, no one knows the story for.
Right.
Cyborg. Cyborg is a
Right.
Teen Titan.
And
The
like,
last
here's the
time that
thing:
we heard about
I'm
it.
not saying that these heroes are bad, or that
No,
Justice League would like any Justice League ever would be a bad movie.
I
I'm
think
just
that they
saying
should have
that,
built it better, and
yeah,
I agree with you.
I think I'd rather be called a copycat and produce good content ish. I mean, like obviously, I don't want to copy paste other people's content, but like
Of course.
if the format works of instead of bringing all these heroes together and having them fight a massive foe, how invested are you going to be when you don't know why the foe is there or why he is their foe or why they all have to band together,
Yeah.
right? So it's like I'd rather just make a bunch of individual stuff first that would lead into the coming together of that because then now people know why and then there's an emotional investment into it. Like, okay, now I know why. It's like, why does Wonder Woman have to win World War II? Well, she doesn't. But I mean, she literally didn't. She had no part in it. She just was crushing on the guy who, she left the island with.
Hey, Chris Pine. Chris Pine, that man, you do not touch Captain Kirk, okay? Leave Chris Pine out of this. No,
No, I'm not a Chris Pine guy.
All right, so we've
Ryan
gone
Reynolds.
through.
Ryan Reynolds,
Heck,
you don't touch Ryan
no,
Reynolds.
have you seen the memes where it's like, boys, you have 3 doors to pick from. First door, you have like Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez, and it's like you can do whatever you want. Second door, 2 more like hot celebrities.
Right.
Third door, Ryan Reynolds. I'm like,
everyone's like third door,
Ryan
Ryan Reynolds.
I'll take the third door.
I mean, like obviously, like I wouldn't do it like that way with him, but like, yeah,
Are you kidding me?
I would talk to him. I would just talk to him.
Just spending time with the guy is enough to be like, yeah, this was worth it.
Like, you have no idea that when they made Deadpool, like the fact that Disney finally went with, or it wasn't Disney actually, it was just Marvel, but the fact that they finally went with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, like the real Deadpool, not the X-Men one that was like
Barakapool.
Yeah.
Where it's like his swords come out like Wolverine style.
Right.
They
sewed his mouth shut.
Sewed the merc with his mouth shut.
Right.
That was the dumbest thing they could have done.
Oh, it was.
That movie would have been saved by just the wittiness of Ryan Reynolds playing off freaking Hugh Jackman, which is the thing that he's wanted to do for like ever.
He
right?
even makes a reference to it in the Deadpool movie.
Yes.
Like I can't tell you, but it rhymes with Wolverine.
And then what about the final joke with Hugh Jackman, where it's like he has the mask, she takes off the mask, he has the stapled on Hugh Jackman one. That was terrific.
It was great.